wanted to today talk about ports, reboots, and remasters.
Ports, reboots, and remasters.
Basically, I want to talk about the pros and cons of each of them.
Understandably.
Yeah, because, I mean, it can kind of be important when you're looking for your new game or your favorite game series. If it says it's doing one of these three things, they mean some pretty important things.
Yes.
Okay? They
Definitely.
mean some different things in many cases.
Yeah, why don't you give us the basic description, the differences
Okay,
between
so basically.
them. Okay.
Port is basically bringing a game to a console. It's
From
the
another
game.
platform, essentially.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah,
be
from
from
another
Xbox to PlayStation or
Sure.
PC to consoles.
Yeah.
Or consoles to PC. Less
Sure.
likely.
Yeah. Oh, or you can always be trying to put Minecraft on like
Ooh,
the
phones.
Vita. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Or the phones. Phones. That's its own beast.
They are their own
That's
beast
its own
for sure. New emerging market.
Yeah. Okay. So reboots.
Okay.
Okay. Reboots. These are the most dramatic. These are the ones that can change things, make it very notorious. One on the internet was Devil May Cry.
Okay. Yeah.
When they rebooted the game, essentially they changed a lot of things.
Was that
changed
a
the main
reboot?
story.
Or...
That was a reboot. That is what a
I didn't
reboot
think the series
is.
was that old. We had Devil May Cry 4 come out.
Yeah, but this was different. This is where they changed the original character model. They changed the background story. They changed the gameplay.
Yeah.
They changed
Oh,
everything
yeah, it was
about
big different. What did they remove, the lock-on feature or something?
Oh, they removed a lot.
Or they added a lock-on feature. I can't remember. Probably removed
took it
that.
out.
Okay.
Took it out. They removed a lot of things. They changed a lot of things. And the factor is, it was new from the ground up. That's what a reboot is.
Yeah.
Where it's new from the ground up. You're taking an existing series and maybe putting a spin on it. Sometimes
Almost continuing it. We had the recent reboot of Ghostbusters.
Ah, there you go.
Is that out yet? I don't know if that's out yet. Don't know, don't care. I'm not going to say it.
Yes. And of course, remasters, where
remasters, the nostalgia bombs.
Yes, remasters, of course, taking an existing game and bringing it maybe up to a new console.
Other notable remasters, I think the biggest notable one we just heard about, with Bethesda remastering Skyrim, which we've all been begging for.
Yeah.
And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think it was the ultimate decision they could have did. Out of anything they could have done, with Skyrim, they could have just released it, to as backward compatible, for the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm. They could have done that, but it only works for Xbox One.
Yeah,
and of course PC players. I mean, you can just download your graphics pack.
Yeah, there you go. And they chose the remaster route, and they added all these new features, and it's gonna look beautiful. And I just can't.
They added the
wait.
mods. That's all.
They added mods.
That is all. Drops the mic.
Exactly. Just the fact that the game looks so beautiful. I mean, personally, for me, it's a big hassle to go find my 360. It's off in another room. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't go over there very often. I'm using it as like a DVD player essentially in another room. Right. And it's like, I'm never going to go over there to go play my 360 games. And backward compatibility, that's why it's so important to me, with backward compatibility. And Skyrim has not hit that yet. And I was waiting for backward compatibility. And it never came. And I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And now they're doing a remaster. And I'm going to be able to play it on my Xbox One. And that is the ultimate experience. That's what I wanted.
If anything, that is one 360 and PS3 game that I would play now, no problem. It's like, oh, so I want to play some Skyrim? Yes, throw it in, play. It's not going to matter what gen it's on,
And I have another thing though, a bad side about remasters. Well, could be a bad side of a remaster. You got to buy your game again.
Dang.
That's kind of a big deal. I mean, I got Skyrim sitting over there in my 360. I can play it. No big deal. And I could have played it and been happy this whole time. I could have just moved my 360 in this room. Now they're going to remaster it.
That's the thing. That's okay. This is what I wanted to discuss. Okay?
Yeah.
With a remaster, okay, or ports or reboots, okay, there are advantages and disadvantages. I would say Skyrim is a perfect example of a good remaster. And the reason I say that, of course, is that I have a good copy of Skyrim out there. I want to play it bad.
Yeah.
Okay, and I have actually opted to
to.
just sit it there. I'm like, I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it right now. They made it worth it. They added the extra graphics. They added the mod support. It's like, I'm sold.
It's like, how much more adventure can I have in this game now?
I did want to note, interview with one of the developers at Bethesda. It was a big higher up guy. I forgot who it was. Anyways, they said, they actually outwardly said, don't expect Elder Scrolls 6 anytime soon. They said like for the next few years, like they
Well,
mentioned.
we knew that with Elder Scrolls Online getting released. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's
No,
like,
but that's-
where's
that was the thing
team?
is that they announced that they had 2 massive game projects, like Fallout 4 investments. Okay, and they said and neither of them is Elder Scrolls 6. So don't get your hopes up. Don't go waiting. You're not getting it for years.
I'm like a little disappointed, but with the Skyrim remaster, I think that's enough for me.
I'm really happy
That's
about that.
exactly what they needed to do.
Yeah,
If they wanted to, if they weren't going to do Elder Scrolls 6, they had to do a Skyrim remaster. If they had just done backward compatibility and no Elder Scrolls 6, everybody would have been disappointed. Yeah. But they did a remaster with the mod upgrades, the new textures, and all that.
It right.
It was exactly what they needed to do.
They did it right.
So I was very happy with that. I think that was exactly what they needed to do. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I like it.
We'll quickly graze over this one, okay? But an example of a bad remaster.
Oh, can I give you a real quick thing? Real quick. You know how they were working on 2 major games?
Yeah.
One's a sci-fi adventure with space.
Who said?
I said. I'm making a prediction.
Okay.
Think about it. Space has been blowing up recently. You know, I mean, okay, we have Mass Effect coming in with Mass Effect Andromeda. Who isn't hyped for it? Yeah. Okay, we have No Man's Sky, which everybody's overhyped for. Looks fun.
It looks awesome, but
I don't know. We had Star Citizen a few years ago.
Yeah.
You know,
they're still waiting.
Yeah, which people are still waiting for. But my point is that sci-fi adventure. Look at all the Call of Duty games.
Look, the factor is with sci-fi adventure or space. Okay, it's the fact it's so open. Okay, you did Fallout 4. It's in a wasteland.
Yeah.
Okay, you got a wasteland environment. You do Elder Scrolls, you have a fantasy environment.
Yep.
They even made a steampunk environment with Dishonored.
There you go.
No point not to make space. And actually, to be fair, they have Prey. They have Prey that they're working on. So I don't know. I don't know much about Prey. I never.
We don't know what the heck it is.
It
looks like a psychological thriller at this point.
It looked really cool.
It's like, what's going on here? Anyway, okay. So,
but yeah,
another example of a remaster.
Yes.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Modern Warfare.
That's my topic.
Okay. Topic. So first of all, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4. Yeah. I think, in my opinion, is a bad remaster.
Yeah.
A lot of people are kind of like, they're already irked because they need to pay $80. Okay.
To even get the $20 game that they want.
Even get the $20 game that they want. Personally, I don't think that Call of Duty 4 is going to be a $20 remaster. I think it's a $40 remaster, and they've just been selling Call of Duty high anyway.
Yeah.
I don't see. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to play it, but I don't get how this is a good idea.
Oh, I see exactly what they're doing. And the factor is that, like you said, it's not necessarily the best idea. They very much upset fans. You can just see the intro release trailer for Infinite Warfare.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and it had like the most dislikes ever. I think something recently surpassed
it's one of the highest
trailer. I think
that one's getting near it.
Ghostbusters
or
reboot.
might have passed it.
Yeah,
it's one of the highest anyway of dislikes of all time.
If anything, yeah, and it was a big statement.
Yeah,
okay, that's what it was. Because I mean, the game doesn't look bad at all. I watched it at E3. I was like, whoa, that looks cool. But of course, they were making their statement. They were talking about their disdain, their anger for that release, and how they're actually releasing it. Because of course, if it wasn't clarified to you guys, basically you have to buy the new Call of Duty Infinite Warfare at this special package thing where it's $80 for the package. So basically a $60 game. 80 or 20 for the remaster, and you can't get it on its own. They're not releasing it on its own.
I think they will eventually.
Eventually they will.
But they want to make their money on Infinite Warfare.
Well, that's the thing.
How they have to do it.
Everyone is a little... a lot of people have their preferences. Call of Duty's kind of split down the middle. They're like, no, get back to the original Modern Warfare, or hey, keep changing, keep doing new cool things like Black Ops 3.
Yeah.
Black Ops 3 is completely different. They're doing different things. So in this case, Activision wants people to try the new Call of Duty game. They don't want you to ever they don't want to give out this option and say this is the answer. Oh, you can just buy this, and then no one will even try the new game.
Yeah,
And in fact, that's why people are upset, is because they can't just go buy the game that they actually want. They now have to pay a boatload of money just to get the $20 port. Or the $20 remaster that they actually want.
Yeah.
So, and of course, they're probably just not even going to buy it or something, or maybe everyone's going to buy it anyway.
Activision.
No,
You know?
no, it'd be a bad move for Activision because then they'd have so many people jumping ship and not buying their new game that they put
the
tons
$60
of effort
title.
into. Yes. And that's the factor is that when they package it like this, people who really want to play back on their Call of Duty 4, okay, now can go get their Call of Duty 4, but then they're also going to have this useless game sitting here. And they can either sit there and protest and not install it, not play it, or whatever, or maybe they might be tempted to say, let's throw it in and see how awful it is. And then maybe they'll like it.
Now that I'm thinking about it, okay, so for remasters in general, this is kind of a new area with Call of Duty 4. The only other example I can think of is the Halo collection, where they did remasters of the games, and then they remastered the multiplayer as well.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is these kind of shooters, they already have a massive problem of dividing their players with DLC packs.
Yeah.
And now Halo 5, they moved in, they said, okay, there's microtransactions. Everybody's like, no! And then they're like, well, it's only like this. And they're like, oh, okay, whatever. And then Call of Duty Call of Duty needs to get there. They need to get there with this because DLC packs are dividing their player bases. Yeah. Now you're going to have Modern Warfare come out and it's going to slightly divide the player base. People are going to be like, no, I want to play this.
It might divide a good deal because a lot of people like the original Modern Warfare games and they might just sit there and play that one because they are back in their
what kind of person is going to pay $80 to get the new game and then they're going to pay $80 for a remastered Call of Duty 4?
Hopefully everyone says Activision. Because they want you to pay for it. They want you to buy that package. They want you to get your $20 game. And
I think anybody would be a complete idiot to just buy an $80 copy.
Yeah.
With two games just for the Call of Duty 4 and not try Infinite Warfare. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it would be ridiculous. Yeah. They're not going to be able to return it. They're going to be stuck with a $60 copy. You might as well play it. And I hope, honestly, to everybody, it works. Yeah. But my point is that remasters and multiplayer, that's kind of new territory. I would have to see some Halo numbers, just to see what are their multiplayer numbers on Halo 2. What are their multiplayer numbers on Halo 1? Do they have multiplayer in there? I don't remember if they made it online or not.
I don't know if they added it. I know it had local multiplayer.
So you have Halo 2, you have Halo 3, you have Halo 4, you have Halo ODSTD, or no, Halo 5, and they all have their own multiplayers.
Yeah.
And
is that a good idea?
It's got to be making a mess of things, or at least those other ones. I bet you the numbers on those remastered multiplayers really aren't that great.
I don't think it is.
It's nice to see that the option's there, but it just seems like something that's going to divide the player base. Maybe it'll just continue to diminish, and maybe it'll flourish with 500 people playing it forever.
I'm kind of afraid no one's going to be playing the remastered Call of Duty 4. Because if everyone wants to protest it, they're not going to buy it. They're not going to pay that $80 just to get the $20 game.
We should really know what's the number of players playing Call of Duty 4 right now. And I'm sure
like
the number's garbage because it's all hackers for crying out loud. And that's one of my main reasons why I don't play some of these old Call of Duty games. I just don't care. It's full of hackers. You try to get a decent match. Takes too long. Dagnam level up.
There's so few players. They can't match you with people with similar
connections. There you go. Yeah. Pain and distance and all that just causing massive lag. Yeah. It's just not fun. Yeah. And I'm curious, how quickly are these remastered games also going to completely just fall out? Because it's like, oh, nobody's playing it, and it goes right into the same thing.
Yeah.
Good news is, though, they're not going to divide everybody with multiplayer packages. You're with DLC packs for that game, I hope. They say it comes with 10 remastered maps from that game. So, we'll see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting.
Last one I had on my list was simply Final Fantasy VII. Okay, this one is a fan favorite. It is held up as one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah.
And
this is essentially...
To be fair, I've never actually played it, but comments I wanted to make is that they have been porting this game.
Yeah.
Okay, to...
Oh, yeah.
Anything and everything, Sony. It has PC releases, and they've never made a new one. Everyone's like, just make a new one. Reboot it or remaster it.
Remaster it, yeah.
Yes. And that's the thing. Okay,
what the heck is this now? It's not a remaster for sure.
This one's questionable. And this is what I wanted to bring up here or hit home is that this new game, Final Fantasy VII, it might be a remaster. They might call it a remaster. But the factor is that this thing could maybe be a reboot.
I think that spiritually, it's a remaster.
Yeah,
but this is a reboot.
I figure it's gonna have all of the same story, maybe some additions. I know they're already cutting it into multiple games.
They said it's gonna be a different story. It's gonna be essentially the same-ish story, but
Yeah.
they're
gonna
not,
expand it
nothing's holy as far as I know.
Yeah. Yes. But in the sense of how they're making this game, this is purely like reboot. They are making from the ground up everything.
I fully understand. Like a lot of people, they're a bit agitated with this game coming out because
it's just
it
not
seems
the
like
original game. They know the original game is gold. So why would you change anything?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like it's like they're not quite nickel and diming people with DLC or microtransactions and that kind of thing, but they're gonna split the goddamn game into potential minimum three versions of the game or three parts of the game minimum. Could be up to 5.
I heard it could be chapter based. I was like, or episodic. That was a term that was thrown around. But I did want to just mention, I think it was last year's E3 2015, where basically they released Final Fantasy VII. They said Final Fantasy VII coming to PS4, and it was like, and then they're like, it was the original. They're like, because then they're all like worried because it's like they're never gonna make it. They just released, they just ported the game to the PS4. It's like they'll never remake it now because it's now available on the PS4.
Sony does a pretty solid job of listening to their player base when there's an uproar, I guess you say. Like they
listen to other people's player bases.
yeah, there you go. But there was a pretty big uproar. When they released it, it's like some people are like, well, at least we got Final Fantasy VII,
Yeah.
And then,
like, I've been playing it on my Vita.
But that means we're not getting a new one.
Yeah.
And they're not going to remaster it. And then, they did listen. They ended up remastering it, and it sounds goddamn awful with the episodic nature.
Well, we'll see. I'm excited to be able to test it. I'd like to be able to... the best thing about this, is that this was after Square Enix realized, the Western market likes JRPGs.
Yes.
Who would have guessed?
Who'd have guessed?
And, of course, they discovered that when Final Fantasy 15 was well in development, so that's why I'm worried about that game. I'm seriously worried about that game. But Final Fantasy 7, I think they're going to do something right. They're going to take the best aspects of all this new stuff that they've added through the games that maybe people didn't like, but there were some cool things, and add it into maybe an original, more in a pure form JRPG like the Roots.
Yeah. Anyway, so I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think? Let us know. What do you think about these ports, remasters, reboots? All the advantages, disadvantages of each one. Did you agree, disagree? Let us know.
Anyways, this has been the Gaming Twins podcast. Thanks for listening.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, then go ahead. Hey, if you enjoyed it, hit the like button. Maybe even the subscribe. I think you'll enjoy it. We got a lot more of these coming your way. Also, we do a Twitch show, and that's at twitch.tv/Gaming Twins Show.